Hello, my friends, my family. Thank you for joining me. My name is David. Much love to you all, and this is my channel. Today's video, the future is always the past releasing, or rather, the future is the past releasing. The ultimate goal is to change that concept. So this is what we would call the idea of the paradox, the idea of the mirror reflection or projection. A lot of times what we do is we see things backwards, so to speak, because of the projection that's going on in our mind. And from my perspective, the journey is all about letting go of that projection. Once you let go of the projection, you really will see that this moment right now is not only perfect, wonderful, new, and free. And that is the present moment. It has no problems, nothing upon it, and it is only receiving more and more of good, holy, and the beautiful. So this idea that there is only love, only good, and that's hard to see. And the reason it's hard to see is because of this projection that's going on in our mind. So let's chat about this. I was watching this video, and this gentleman was talking about how he did not believe in God simply because of all the problems that were coming in the world. And I get that, right? People starving and atrocities and things coming in the form of disasters, and then problems with the body and pain and suffering and disease. And it was hard for him to see a God that would do that to us all. So therefore, that was his belief system. He couldn't see that there was only good and love. And I can understand from that perspective. But let's talk about that. See, what's happening is that everything he was describing is a release, not something coming in. And when you see it from that perspective, it changes it completely. And we've talked about that before, is everything is flowing to us in a perfect way, perfect balance, perfect harmony. The whole universe is in perfection of harmony and balance from our broader perspective. But from our limited perspective, we can't see the whole picture. We can't see the holiness of everything, the wholeness of how everything is flowing. So therefore, we make what we call a misperception by looking out at it and causing resistance because of that looking, because of that observing. And now it must release somewhere, somehow, because of that pressure that has been built up in our energy. And that is all of our pain, our problems. On a collective level, it can be a disaster. It could be a volcanic eruption. It could be a lot of things. This idea of release, release, release. So I've learned in my life, all negative emotion is a release. And if you just make it simple and say, there's only positive emotion and negative emotion. I mean, there really is. That's all there is. It's all about how you feel. We've talked about that before. It's all about how you feel. And there's only these two ways of feeling. You will see that negative emotion is a release. Ah, I'm angry. That's a release. Oh, I'm really sad. I'm crying. That's a release. I'm sick and you see, I'm coughing. That's a release. Can you see? All negative emotion is a release. What we would call release of misperception or release of resistance, moving against that broader perspective that we are looking at, and therefore now releasing back into perfection, releasing back into perfect harmony and perfect balance. And you can be sure, if you could put the goggles on, you would see everything and everyone out there. All those things, even the ones he's talking about, are perfect release of the broader perspective of all that we are, of Source itself, releasing back to its perfection, releasing back to its harmony, and releasing back to its balance. That's the only thing there could ever be, because there's only love, and love has no opposite. But there is those that can push against love, and thereby cause a resistance on the other side, and having it then release. Does that make sense? The projection says it's coming to us. This is coming to us. This is happening to me. This is happening to me. It's never, ever happening to you. It's always releasing from within. So let's talk about this way of looking at this so we can help ourselves let go of this. If you take the present moment right here in the center, and let's say this is the future, and this is the past, and this is a linear setup. I'm here now. This is my future. This is my past. Now, anyone know what it feels like to have that push against you, something pushing against you in your life, things not working out, things moving towards you, this threat, fear, or worry? Well, that's the fearful future. That future looks bleak. That future seems to be pushing against me. That future seems to be a problem. I don't know if I can trust it. That's the idea of not trusting our future. There's a fearful future that's pushing against us in our present, so to speak. Now, if I can convince you that this fearful future doesn't exist without the past association, they are one and the same. You take one away, you take them both away. Okay? Now, this fearful future that's coming in, that's causing that negative emotion towards us, is coming from some thought of the past, of what has already happened. But Dave, this happened to me. This person left me. This person denied me. This person didn't like me. So now I'm worried about other people not liking me, denying me. Does that make sense? You see, this person left me. I had a death in the family, or someone dear to me has been taken from me, and now I'm worried about others being taken away from me. Therefore, now my future is coming to me in a bleak way of loss and lack. My body hurts because this happened to me a long time ago, this accident. Therefore, this is going to continue to come in. So the more you understand, these are connected. The fearful future is always, hear me, always what it is that's pushing against you. It's never the past. It's always the future. The more you recognize, well, where is it? What fearful future am I projecting onto myself? And I'm feeling like it's going to happen. What if? What if? What if? You see? Then you'll see there must be a corresponding place in the past that is causing it. Now, how does this work? The past is the culprit. Always. You take away the past, you let go of the fearful future, and it's just you in the present moment with Source, and you guys connect, and it's perfect. You see, that's why this moment is perfect. Good, holy, and beautiful. Whatever you think you're missing, you'll start receiving from Source in a perfect holiness or wholeness. The reason it looks like God is dead, the reason it looks like things are bad, is because we're using our past to create a fearful future. Now, the truth is the past is projecting a fearful future. This is why this gentleman would say, I don't like this atrocity, and therefore there must not be love. He's not seeing it in the past, is he? He's seeing it in the future. You see, it's coming in. It's coming in. It's coming towards me. I must fight. I must worry about it. So what we do is we take the past that has happened and we project a fearful future. But the future itself is a smokescreen. It's not real. So this is the key that puts it all together. You ready? And this is what we're talking about in this video. It's the name of the video. The past is a holy moment. Always. No matter what you experience, you can experience a little tiny limited perspective of it, but you won't see the holiness of it. You'll just see your perspective of it. The rest is broader perspective. Broader perspective is always there for you, always taken care of, always filling in the gaps, and always keeping you whole, connected, loving, beautiful, and perfect, even if the broader or the limited perspective doesn't feel that in a moment. Now, when you don't feel good and you don't feel loving and you don't feel happy and joyful, it's simply because you're not seeing the broader perspective. The reason you're not seeing the broader perspective is because you're using that particular specific thing that happened in the past to make yourself unholy. You understand? Unwhole. We're using that little tiny thing that happened to me. Well, that happened to me and it made me feel this way. But we didn't see that when it happened, the broader perspective came through and sent you all the clarity and so forth and so on. That it's a journey and that journey is whole and that the broader perspective has all the answers and it's going to come to you in the form of the future. So because of that, we focus on what happened. We focus on the past. And now we say, if it happened there, it must happen in the future, not knowing they come together. They cannot come by themselves. It's a mirror out there. That world is an effect. Remember, what you focus on the past, you create a new cause. Therefore, you must create a new effect. The past and future does not exist in this way. The past and future is one moment, present moment. So if you're seeing a past and you're seeing a future, they are one and the same. And they are both an illusion and a projection. So now, as we recognize that this past has a part of broader perspective on it, and when we experience that moment and we felt that push against us in that moment, so to speak, as we go back in the past and think about it, that broader perspective was saying, you're seeing this incorrectly. You're seeing this moment in an unholy way. You're not seeing this perfect. You're not seeing as good. You're not seeing as loving. You're seeing it missing something, either in that person, that experience, whatever it is, you're seeing it missing. and thereby seeing it missing in yourself because they are one and the same. Broader perspective is there to let you know through your guided system you're seeing it wrong. You're seeing it wrong. Therefore, you feel negative emotion. Oh, I feel that negative emotion. Now, from that place, you're going to feel a release because you are seeing it other than broader perspective. Therefore, you are now in a state of release. Negative emotion is a state of release. I'm seeing it wrong. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm sad. I'm fearful. That's a release in that moment. You are releasing through your guidance system to let you know you are indeed seeing it unholy. Without the broader perspective there, you're seeing only a little tiny slither of what's really going on. You're not seeing the whole picture. Does that make sense? You're not seeing the whole picture. You're zoomed in, you see a little dot, but when you zoom out, oh, I see. It's different. Your broader perspective sees the whole earth. You see one little tiny piece. You just don't have all the information. Therefore, you're now releasing through negative emotion. Does that make sense to everybody? Now that release gets projected out into a future. And now that future feels like it's pushing against you. And that's why when you feel angry and frustrated, the world feels like it's pushing against you. That person, they don't agree with me. I feel like they're pushing against me. There's an attack going on. You feel it? Anytime you get upset and frustrated with negative emotion, there's always a feeling of something pushing against you from the world, from outside, from that mind. There's something that's coming after you. It's coming after me. And what I want to convince you of, it's the release of the past that is then projected into a future or into that moment coming in that looks like it's now coming in. And it never does. It never comes in. It's always releasing, always releasing. Pain in the body is always releasing. It's never coming into you. But what if, never true, ever. It's being projected in a form through the mirror to make you believe that it's coming to you, when in reality, it's releasing from you. Write that down. Sit with that. Don't take my word for it. Look at it for yourself. Plug it into your life and see if it makes sense to you. This is what I have learned through that mirror reflection of what happens. Once you get this, then you will not believe this fearful future anymore. You will debunk it. You will say, that's just a smokescreen. It feels like it's pushing against me. There's nothing pushing against me. And that's the idea of the clouds and moving to the sun, moving to the light, the darkness and the light. Darkness is an illusion. It's not real. Turn on the light, it's gone. You see? The darkness is your fearful future. Coming from looking at the past, come from looking at something that you only see a small, tiny perspective, thereby projecting it into a future in a fearful way. It's not true. Darkness is not real. So once you realize that, you dismiss it. And as you dismiss it, you see only the light from the perspective of the present moment. The past goes away. You recognize that the past is not real. You recognize the future is not real. And you sit in the present moment in a place of peace, joy, and happiness. And now you know the only thing that's coming in is everything you have asked for. Through all of those slithers of experiences you have experienced in that broader perspective, filling in the gaps, that's what's coming in. Because as you live through contrast in your life, you create what you call gaps, meaning you only see small perspective. The bigger perspective is always what's flowing in the form of clarity. It's going to help you understand why you experienced that. It's going to help you understand why that came to you. It's going to help you understand why you had that experience. Do you see what I'm saying? We just have to let go of focusing on the problem. And every time we focus on the past and try to change it or try to defend it or try to justify it, what we're really trying to do is get rid of this fearful future that seems to be looming over us all the time. And I can assure you, it is a projection from this past experience. Thereby, because this past experience is a releasing moment, it is being released by the truth of your broader perspective, bringing in the clarity. But from this perspective of the future, it feels like it's pushing against you when it never, ever is. The future is the past releasing. And the more you recognize it, the more you'll sit in a moment and let it in. And now the power of allowing that fearful future to come through your mind becomes your greatest journey. I'm going to allow this mind to show me whatever because I don't believe it. And I'm going to stop focusing on the past because the past is done. It's over. It's already been filled in by my broader perspective. And now, as I let go of this past problem, past issue, I will finally receive my broader perspectives in the form of clarity, in the form of expansion, that what has been wanting to come in probably for some time. And now I let go of the fearful future, which is just a projection of the past. I hope this helps. Sit with this. It could be quite confusing. Remember, we're looking in a mirror. That world's an effect. You're the cause. It's really easy to get mixed up in that mirror reflection. So take a look at that. As always, it's up to you what you receive from this video. And keep the comments coming if you have any questions with this. And hit the like button if it's speaking to you. And of course, subscribe. And as always, my unconditional love and appreciation to all of you on this wonderful, wonderful journey of love, of goodness, and holiness.